Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and I'm so pumped to talk to you about the third episode because there's so many fun things that happen. We got Wang being just Wang.
Wang, just Wang. And
more new characters to learn from, and as always, She-Hulk coming into herself. Plus, Megan the mother effing stallion. It's like Jessica Gao said, Jessica Clemons of New Rockstars, we have an episode for you, and I said, bless up, baby. Also, I'd like to mention, because I've forgotten and I'm so sorry, our great partners over at the Epic Heroes shop just released their Green Justice merch line inspired by She-Hulk. It's got several different t-shirt designs, including the newest limited edition latest obsession shirt, Lady Justice. They're also dropping lines inspired by House of the Dragon and/or Rings of Power in the coming weeks. When purchased, you get an opportunity to get a shout out and such from Voss, MT, and I on Inside Marvel. What fun! Okay, now let's get into our episode 3 breakdown. Jen is storming the DODC like she's been there 100 times. As she walks through the lasers, I noticed the A113 on the wall and immediately went to A113 Pixar number. If you don't know, it's the classroom number used by a ton of Pixar alumni at the California Institute of the Arts, and it's hidden in a ton of Pixar movies. It's featured in Spider-Man Homecoming, Avengers Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's not just an animation. They can project videos and images on Emil's prison walls, which I think is pretty insane and futuristic, but they do this almost in every Marvel movie, so it's not too new. Emil discloses, pretty late I might add, that Wang forced him out of prison, and he knew Wang's complete title, probably because Wang's been introducing himself as the Sorcerer Supreme since No Way Home, and I stand for it. Be proud, Wang. We see Wang's mock LinkedIn account. Nikki and Wang's mutual connection is Bruce. I love this confirmation that Avengers can have LinkedIn accounts, because I'm sure Tony had one. He's so proud to be the Sorcerer Supreme. He also marked full-time librarian at Carmitage for 11 years and a Target sales associate for 9 years. So if my math is correct, give or take, because we all know no one updates their LinkedIn, maybe just me. Wang was appointed Sorcerer Supreme in 2018 following the blip. 11 years before that as a librarian, so that's 2007. But for 9 years, he was a Target sales associate. So from 1998 to approximately 2007, Wang was training at Carmitage, but also side-gigged as a Target employee. Go off, King. Jen breaks the fourth wall, and here we hear a little transitional twinkle before it.
I know you can't wait to see Wang. I get it.
Which we haven't really heard yet. It's hard to describe, but it's a sort of futuristic synthy wave passing between your left and right speakers. It's similar to the noise Tony's machine model makes in Endgame when it was a successful run. It seems like Jen knows it's the WCU, also known as the Wang Cinematic Universe, because she wants us to remember this show isn't about him, or Bruce, or Blonsky. It's She-Hulk, baby! Also, Jen, if that ain't a self-driving car, keep your hands 10 and 2. We get the pass-by effect introducing News Los Angeles Now, announcing Jennifer Walters is representing Emil Blonsky. They use the photo straight out of 2008's Incredible Hulk. Below the headline reads, superpowered influencer Titania speaks out about latest legal troubles, confident her legal team will make it go away, which shows that her altercation with Jen has not smoothed over in the slightest. We see the Tattle News frame like E! Entertainment News, an anchor played by Amanda Salas, who also is the entertainment anchor for Good Day LA. In another pass-by effect, we see just how popular She-Hulk is right now. On what I assume is YouTube, she's covered under the tag She-Hulk, News, and Superhero. She's being talked about on Despierta Daily News. There's theory videos on She-Hulk not being real, a hoax, conspiracy theories on this poor woman. Dear Lord, is this how I sound all the time? I hope not. They've also already started calling her the big green woman on the internet. This girl has gone viral. If you want to call being called a big green woman viral. Yeah, I would. I'll quickly explain the ups and downs of all She-Hulk's online threads. First, we get a nonsensical man, I made that up, played by Rory Asplin, who was featured in episode 1 of She-Hulk as a stunt performer. I think he might have been the guard on the right. We get mixed sexist comments from people like Dom the Bounty Hunter, Hard Seltzer Steve, and Darby Don't Care. TikToks, emojis, memes, more unwanted male commentary, and I'm about to Hulk out just reading and listening to them all. She's being covered on the news, the conversation with Jefferson Coop. We meet Blonsky's former attorney, Gideon Wilson, played by Jason Turner, who A, we didn't see in The Incredible Hulk or anything else, and B, is Sam Wilson's brother. In the comics, Gideon first appears in World War Hulk Gamma Corps #1. He was Sam and Sarah's older brother. When he joined the Gamma Corps, they were basically made to take down the Hulk. He was super supportive of his brother becoming Captain America, but Gideon's story in the comics is super rough. His son died from AIDS, and he took his anger basically out on the Hulk. It's pretty sad, but it's a good comics. It's a good comic run. But in the MCU, he doesn't really exist that we know of. To Sam and Sarah's knowledge, it was just the two of them, but maybe Gideon, as the oldest, left far before Sam and Sarah could remember. There's a lot of theories that could be made, but I think it's important to note that they chose Gideon Wilson as the character to prosecute Abomination in the past rather than anyone else. If you're full of chivalry and really want to address someone as Lord and Lady, Established Titles can make it official. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They let people buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves as Lord or Lady. In return, Established Titles commits to planting a tree. It's a fun way to help preserve the beautiful woodlands and biodiversity of Scotland while raising funds to support global conservation efforts. Established Titles works with the global charity Trees for the Future and 1 Tree Planted to help them plant a tree for every order. Plus, for those with Scottish heritage, it is a great way to connect with your family roots. Your title pack gives you a numbered plot of dedicated land on a private estate in Huddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. You can change your name on the credit cards, plane tickets, and dating profiles. Get a couple pack for you and your partner with adjoining plots of land. You can literally have this gift ready in 5 minutes. And here's a detail you missed. This is Philip's title. But I'm gonna get my own because Established Titles told me that the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using our link will effectively be next to each other within a few minutes walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our little new Rockstars kingdom. Take that, Philip! Use code Rockstars to get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/Rockstars to get your gifts now. Take it away, Jessica. We're introduced to Mallory Book officially, played by Renee Ellis Goldsberry. If you remember, this is the woman from Hamilton, who's an amazing singer, but also a phenomenal actress. Just a reminder, in the comics, she was an amazing lawyer, but just a rival to Jen and super mean. I didn't really like her. It's revealed Dennis was dating a shapeshifter who made himself look like Megan the Stallion, and Jen does my job breaking it down who she is so I don't have to.
Sorry, you thought you were dating Megan the Stallion? A multiple Grammy Award winner megastar Megan the Stallion?
What part of shapeshifter did you not get?
You thought she drove a Passat?
More specifically, a shape-shifting light elf named Runa from New Asgard, who we later found out is the daughter of an elven diplomat of Asgard and now New Asgard. So light elves have been pretty good to most knowledge. They're native to Alfheim, one of the 9 realms conquered by Odin. Wang appears! Behind him it looks like a living room. There's a couch, coffee table, some chairs, and nice lights. It's a mood-setting room. It's probably a Kamar-Taj. Cat's out the bag. Wang forced Abomination out of prison because he needed a worthy opponent to train to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Wang mentioned that he's aware of the spell that wiped everyone's memory of knowing Peter Parker because Doctor Strange basically had to ask him permission to do it. If you remember, after acknowledging, Wang left saying, "Just leave me out of this." He also adds, "It's very messy," which could refer to all those unanswered questions people have about it. Wang goes on to share some advice saying, we'll send him to the mirror dimension, the parallel dimension that allowed people to practice magic and fight, you remember in Doctor Strange. Then offering the shadow dimension, which I don't think is the shadow realm necessarily, but he meant the dark dimension where we last saw Clea and Doctor Strange headed to in Multiverse of Madness. We get a shot of Pug's laptop. He has U-Screen, aka YouTube up. We're watching the Megan Thee Stallion imposter fight at Celebrate with a QR code. On the right, videos like Pony Imposter thinks it's a stallion, Iron Man 3's honest reviews, I really want to click on it, Malgrado Te, a short film written and directed by Kevin Rodengen, who does VFX for She-Hulk series. Kevin, I'm sorry for butchering your name, but I'm still gonna respect you. Here's his photo. And my favorite, bear fight. Once Pug recognizes it's Runa and not Dennis, we get the Jaws-like zoom in. It's so funny to me, maybe because while he's quiet, Dennis thinks it's because he has a Tesla Cybertruck. You know, those like super ugly cars that Tesla made. We're back to the DODC prison. The same red lasers that Jen has to walk through to see Emil are outside. We're with KNBS News. The anchor is played by real-life journalist Sharon Reed. The man with KAJE3 asks Jen if it's true she's been rejected by the Avengers, and in the show we know that's a blatant lie. Even in the comics she's left and returned a ton of times, but has never been rejected by them. She's been fired, yes, but that's a different kind of rejection, if you know what I mean. We meet the soulmates, and boy was I right. Blair, Ruth, Marta, Sheila, Alejandra, Yvonne, and Nicolette, his better eighths. Blonsky plans on making a meditation retreat on his plot of land, which, possible spoilers, I'm so sorry, I think we saw in the trailers already at what I assumed was the group therapy. Blonsky's first preliminary witness is the literacy program guy, Sean Holt, played by Burke Brown, the prison counselor, Amy Chance, played by Jennifer Van Horn, and the crying guard, Carl Cowart, played by Robert Stevens Wayne. Now, according to Jen's documents, they don't match what was assigned in the credits. This could just be a little mistake in post, or Jen genuinely confused with their job. I think it's the first one, which is no biggie. I just have to acknowledge it. And if at this part you were like, I don't know what a shiv is, it's a shank, which I keep in my sock at all times. It's a breakdown. If someone doesn't know what a shiv is, I have to explain it. Wang says this.
Have you ever heard of a Kumite.
insinuating it might be a little longer until Emil truly gets his verdict. But also, the Kumite covers a lot of things. It's one of the 3 main sections of karate training. It's not just in Bloodsport or that one episode of the Boondocks. When we switch to our B story, we get a better look at Judge Price, played by George Bryant, and Runa's lawyer, Lauren Jesper, played by Ruth Kaufman. When this is said by Judge Price,
She may have diplomatic immunity in New Asgard, but we are not in New Asgard.
it's a tricky answer, mainly because I'm not a lawyer, but according to the United Nations Treaty Collection, modern diplomat immunity was codified as international law in the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which has been ratified by the US and Norway, which is home to New Asgard. So basically, we agreed in Article 9 that we, the US, can consider someone as unwelcome, but we still have to let their home state know. If we don't hear back in a certain period of time or they refuse, we can ask them to leave the US, or we can cancel the diplomat's visa and bar them and their families from returning to the United States ever again. So when Judge Price said that, he could be referring to the fact that New Asgard is its own country within Norway and has different diplomatic immunity. Or maybe because Runa has it in New Asgard doesn't mean the US gave it to her. To be fair, New Asgard isn't that old, and I don't know how the UN handles previously signed treaties with new cities within old countries, but I'd assume they'd fall under Norway's jurisdiction. If you're a lawyer, just hit me up, or if you have better knowledge of international law, just stand up, please, in the chat. Runa does this speech, which I think we all remember from Thor Ragnarok, and it's perfect timing.
Excuse me, Your Honor, but Asgard is not a place. It is a people. Therefore,
Thor's inspirational speeches are not admissible in court.
Asgard is not a place. It's a people.
Emil turns into Abomination, and he is just so gentle picking up his shoes. As we know, this Abomination favors more to the comics, hence his little gilly gills. What I really hate, though, in this scene is how much his partner swoon over him changing into Abomination. It just makes me want to throw myself out of a moving car, you know? It's just like, why? And then he's waving at them in the reflection. It's so, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but it's weird. So currently, Wang is a wanted man, a criminal for helping facilitate a prisoner escape. Let's keep that noted because Wang is now a wanted man. The KNBS News 6 reporter mentions this.
Is there any truth to the rumors you got your powers from a mafia hit gone wrong?
Which happened in the original comics. Crime boss Nicholas Trask's crew shot and seriously injured Jen, warranting a blood transfusion from Bruce, giving her abilities. In the back, we see KCAV 35, which we haven't seen in the MCU, but is the news station for Breaking Bad. I'm rewatching Breaking Bad right now. The app on Nikki's phone is Snafu, which is a satirical comic book from the 1950s. Marvel Comics made it to mimic Mad Magazine, written by Stan Lee. Catch here when Jem breaks the fourth wall. These duo don't notice, but Hulk noticed in the first episode, so maybe it's like the family shared DNA can recognize it. Another anecdote we can see more of as the series goes on, but worth noting as the idea that only certain folks can see it. Seeing as you can get up to 3 years in jail or in prison for false impersonation in California, 60 days is a great punishment. But again, not a lawyer. Please don't use me as a cause to any of your crimes, people. I will freak out. I screamed so loud when Megan Thee Stallion presented herself in that full church pink getup and fandom match. That person next to her is just as shook as I am. Signature included. So when Dennis mentioned making sure Runa could never trick anyone again with her powers, it was right on the nose that Jen would think about using the inhibitor. Remember, Bruce had it in the first episode. Now this tricky instrument could open the door to the Mutant Registration Act we saw in X-Men. Seeing as we're already acknowledging mutants exist in the MCU, basically the Mutant Registration Act identified and tracked all mutants but could set up any vigilante to target registered mutants. Regardless, capturing people and using an inhibitor immediately sounds like a fine idea until someone is falsely prosecuted, wrongfully imprisoned, or killed while in holding. It's not as easy as Jen thinks, and this could set up shop for a very dangerous game. On Citizen News tonight, the news anchor is played by Bob DeCastro, who is also on Fox 11 LA. She finally interviews, and it's a giant step for She-Hulk, and I'm so proud. No pun intended. I just love her, and I'm glad at how she's doing in the show. When Jen gets home, she gets jumped by this man in a yellow helmet, and this guy who has purple emitting glow from his gloves, and this guy with a blue emitting crowbar, and this man at the end has a pinkish ball and chain. We later find out that one of the men is named Thunderball, and oh baby, wait till you get a gander at this crew. Now, you might have seen them in Avengers, the Earth's Mightiest Heroes fighting Thor, or in Ultimate Spider-Man, but they are the supervillain team known as the Wrecking Crew. See the W's on their shirts? Why do they have shirts for their crimes? Their story is pretty wild and chaotic. Dirk Garthwaite, aka the Wrecker, broke into Loki's home with a crowbar, and right as Loki was getting powers from Carnella, Dirk got in the way and got it. He later fought Thor, and his powers transferred from him to his crowbar, but in prison he met ex-physicist Elliot Franklin, aka Thunderball, Brian Koleski, aka Piledriver, Driver, and ex-Army Sergeant Henry Camp, aka Bulldozer. When they broke free, they retrieved the magical crowbar. They really stood in the lightning storm, pulled a Shazam, and each got a piece of its power. They each have distinct weapons they use. So Bulldozer has his armored helmet, neck, shoulder covers. Wrecker has his crowbar. Thunderball has a ball and chain, and Pile Driver has huge hands that are super strong. They fought in secret wars. They've even assisted in Hood's criminal syndicate during the Skrull invasion. So ultimately, we could see more of them since we're headed in that direction already, but they did steal these weapons from an Asgardian construction worker, so maybe the origins may change a little. Their backstory in She-Hulk could also be different from the comics, but these characters in the comics are around all the time, fighting everyone and usually losing. Now, for the real question. Who's their boss? And here's my theories. In the comics, they worked under the Hood, who we know is coming into Ironheart, and they worked under Baron Zemo, who led the Masters of Evil and fought the Thunderbolts. So those two characters are two big deals because they're getting them in another series and movie anyways. The leader from Incredible Hulk, he was super excited to work with Banner, and with his blood, he could do a lot. Maybe getting She-Hulks would be even easier. Or lastly, they could be working for Leapfrog, which, hey, is a stretch, but it would be fun to see a more rich version of Leapfrog trying to make up for what his dad couldn't, and he has his own team of goons. The episode closes with Yonaka Sees the Power. I love this song. This is the first piece of new material since 2019, and they even said in an interview, "We want you to get lost in a feeling of strength and empowerment when listening to this song," and I want that to be completely true. Though Jen looks defeated in this last scene looking at her reflection, it feels like the ending of every Euphoria episode. I just want this to be the look of a woman who just recognized, yeah, maybe her old life is over, but she's a superhero now, versus thinking, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I want her confident, I just want her courageous. We get a new courtroom illustration of Blonsky on his release shuttle with his 7 partners happily crying and waving him off goodbye. We get Nikki's thirst trap with the books in a library to catch Wang's attention. Dennis taking Megan Thee Stallion out on a very luxurious date, assuming that's not actually Megan, but maybe Runa. Megan Thee Stallion is Jen's latest client, and let me tell you, I've never been happier. This is like watching your two very best different friends meet and become best friends. This is like the first time you put peanut butter and chocolate together. This is my two favorite things coming together. If they somehow put anime in this, I just explode. And to top it all off, they're twerking. They close the episode to Body by Megan Thee Stallion, and if you told me 5 years ago Kevin Feige would approve of the hot Ebony, aka Tina Snow, aka Megan Thee Stallion, would be canon in the MCU, I'd say, are you lying? Oh, that's everything I spotted in the 3rd episode of She-Hulk. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lulu_Clemons. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching.